and good morning, dear listener. Let me start from Benue, where you stopped. I said yesterday that many persons supported the call by, or the support by former President Goodluck Jonathan for independent candidacy. And I'm telling you for free, if Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia has stood as an independent candidate in Benue State, I'm telling you he would have won that election. He wouldn't have needed a political party. So what we are saying going forward, that the 10th National Assembly, when you are reviewing the Constitution again, make that as one item to consider.
They voted against it. It was a proposal, but they voted against it. They voted against it. They knew that if it comes to light, it will be an issue.
It will be an issue. And going to Enugu East, you saw what the man, Kelvin Chukwu, who won Chimaroke Nnamani, forcing Nnamani to even step down from the PDP, even though he was initially suspended or expelled. So those are lessons we need to learn going forward to reform and to make sure that our electoral process is strengthened up. That independent candidacy, will keep hammering it. We need it in our country. We're growing the democracy. Such provisions are needed. Teve, the issue of inconclusive elections in Adamawa and Kebbi State. What happened in Adamawa State? The returning officer said 14 wards in 21 local government elections were cancelled. Elections are going to be reconducted. And if you put the number of the registered voters there, those voters that collected their PVC is higher than the margin between the PDP and the APC. The same thing played out in Kebbi State. Kebbi State, they have about 91,000 persons who have collected their PVCs in 20 of the 21 local government, which makes it impossible to declare the candidate of the APC winner, because the margin between the two of them is just barely 45 or 42,000 votes. So that's what made that election to be inconclusive. The era of inconclusive, we thought it was over when Mahmoud Yakubu just came in, when we were having inconclusive, and it has showed its ugly head again. And I hope to see,
will you say it's ugly head?
Yes, because
I think it only shows that there were very close contests. If you look at it across the states, that is what happened. In fact, it was a very dicey situation in Taraba, for instance, before the declaration could be made.
Even in Kaduna State.
Yeah, there are conditions on which the declaration can be made in a governorship and presidential election. One, the winner must have simple majority. Two, you must have 25%.
25%, 24
in the required number.
Into third of the local government
of the constituencies, that are there, and then the margin of win must be such that it's wider than the number of votes that were cancelled. So if the margin is not wider than the number of votes that were cancelled, then there will be supplementary election. So these are the conditions on which such could be declared. And even in places that were declared, you could see the margin, they were very close, as it was. So I think to a large extent, the beavers, we must give it to the beavers, as it were. Those who are analyzing the results in Delta State, for instance, they will tell you that those days where after everybody has voted, they will now sit and wait for the results from the Creeks. And the Creeks will wait. When they see who is winning and see who is losing, they will now bring figures of the person that they want to win, and it will change the entire dynamic. So to a large extent, I think, and believe you me, if the Electoral Act cannot be amended to say, look, let's base the inconclusiveness of an election on the number of PVCs that are collected. Almost all the elections would have been inconclusive.
Yeah, exactly. And I think going forward, we look at the those that won and the political parties that made marks in certain states. Look at Kano, for example, NNPP winning. Look at the Southeast. I think Labour Party was thinking it was coasting to victory until certain things happened. And if you look at the dynamics, if you look at the sharing of the states, you will see that there are some traditional PDP states who actually won, and traditional APC states, as it were, who actually won. But the changes now in Zamfara, I want to quickly talk about Zamfara. I knew when Marafa and the former governor Yari were having issues with the APC, some of us knew very well that these persons are not satisfied, even though they were forced to make peace with the governor, Matawali. And look at how the result turned out. The PDP won. How would the PDP win where you have a Marafa, a Yari, backing, aligning themselves with Matawali. So something serious or something unexpected happened among their ranks. That is why a PDP, the PDP just fell about a week or so. The Supreme Court, what they call now, ruled that Dari, I think Lawa Dari, the PDP candidate in Zamfara State, was the authentic candidate. And you can imagine, just a week or so to the election, the Supreme Court ruled, and he came and won the election, which shows that the beavers, as you have rightly said, did his work, and the logistics INEC provided also actually work, unlike the presidential election. So going forward, let's commend INEC in this governorship election. Yes, as I said yesterday, the beavers, the logistics were okay, but it's just the manipulation of results in some states. As I was saying before even the February 25th election, I said if your party is coasting to victory in your locality, it doesn't give you the power. Some people went online, and I must say, TV, some newspapers headline they didn't deliver as we expected. You can imagine somebody putting on the headline saying that certain party is almost going to be the first female governor in Nigeria, and that is wrong. You don't go and start. That is partially announcement of results, and that is not right.
They said almost.
That is partially announcement of results.
The newspapers can do that and get away with it, unlike the broadcast media that is strictly regulated. As well. But just like you observe, the situation in Kano is very interesting. So now we have APC, we have PDP having holds of state, we have APGA having a state, and then NNPP. And then the situation in Enugu and Abia is between the Labour Party and the PDP.
Yeah.
So it depends on how all of that will eventually turn out. We are told, INEC says that in Abia State, results, their collation center in, I think, Obingwa was attacked. So they suspect.
And some of the officials too.
And they also rely, which is also part of what the Electoral Act has provided. Before now, INEC would have had no power to review such results. But the Electoral Act has given them the power. If there are such challenges and all of that, you can review, which is also, the situation in Enugu State. They say they received certain petitions, and all of that, and they are studying them to see how.
I think there's an interesting development in Plateau State, TV. We're expecting the historic phone call made by Jonathan to Buhari when he lost election will happen, but we saw that it happened in Plateau State. My namesake, Patrick Dakum, the Labour Party governorship candidate, congratulated the PDP candidate, and that is the kind of thing we want, so that peace will reign across board. Congratulate him, and as we have said earlier in the week, that this is a contest and not war. So the spirit of sportsmanship, that is what former President Goodluck Jonathan preached when he voted in Bayelsa the other day, on Saturday. He said that it's a contest, that people should not go make some certain comments because they lost election and you see bloodletting. And he has said before, when he was there, that his ambition does not is not worth the blood of any Nigerian. So if we imbibe ourselves as politicians, as electorate, as followers, as voters, and that this is a contest and not war, certain comments will not force people to the streets to carry knife and carry guns and start killing themselves. We thank God for the curfew, dust-to-dust curfew in Kano, and that has curtailed
which was ignored by some
partially it was ignored, but law is law, and it's been observed in certain areas. And a lot of talk about what happened in Lagos, TV, if I must tell you. Some of our mails are making a reference to the issue of arrest or no arrest, or invitation or no invitation of certain persons that were making comments in Lagos that if you are from this ethnic group, don't come out to vote. And I want to see this as a wake-up call to CSOs, to government establishments like National Detention Agency and International Peace Center, and all those that are involved in ensuring that there is peace in Nigeria, to jump into this situation and ensure that peace does not break down in places like Lagos.
Indeed, I think one of the lessons we must pick moving forward from this 2023 election, which I don't know how INEC will address that issue, the issue of voter suppression across most of the states, not just Lagos. We also had a report in Rivers State. We had a report in a number of other places, and I think and it points to one thing. Before now, they would allow you to go ahead, and because they know that at the end of the day they can always
manipulate,
bring figures, outrageous
Exactly.
figures, but now they know that the Beavers is the king. So if it's only those who came to be accredited that can vote. So if you come to be accredited and you vote for the party that is not their party, then clearly it's going to affect their chances. So they were attempting to stop people who were going to possibly vote for the other parties not to come in the first instance, so that it's only their people that are there. It also tells you that, look, even the politician is respecting Beavers. And I think the issue of that historic phone call, Patrick Dakum came a distant third. I think he didn't even get up to 50,000 votes or thereabout. So he's expected. Perhaps he didn't even have any case that to make that call. But to me, the one that was very historic was the one in Niger State. They had just collected 11 out of the 25 local government areas, and the PDP candidate there, Sani Liman Kantigi, considered defeat, calling on his APC opponent at the time, who is the governor-elect now, Umar Bago, and congratulating him. If the declaration was still going on, just about the 11 out of 25 local government, as it was. So we'll see how all of this will pan out. Clearly, we're going to see what is it called now? Election petitions, So it also beholds on. I'm sure in 2027 or even the supplementary elections moving forward, once you are contesting election, you will not only prepare to win, but you're also preparing to gather evidence in case you need to challenge the results.
Let me quickly bring our listener up to speed with the states, the political parties that have won elections. In APC won in Sokoto, Yobe, Gombe, Borno, Kwara, Niger, Benue, Nasarawa, Cross River, Kaduna, Ogun, Jigawa, Lagos, Ebonyi, Katsina, and the PDP won in Rivers, Bauchi, Akwa Ibom, Plateau, Delta, Zamfara, or Oyo State, while the NNPP won in Kano State. And as you have rightly said, Teve, we're looking forward to the fireworks to move from here to the courts. And I'm sure, like the Delta State has come out openly that it's going to challenge the election in court. We're going to see if the fireworks move to the courtrooms now, election petition tribunals actually. We'll see they must gather their evidence. That's what we keep saying. The evidence must be gathered, and don't go with your bare chest and just say that because you won in certain locality, you are coasting to visit certain locality, so you are supposed to have won the election. Let me take us back to Nasarawa State TV. You know what happened in Nasarawa State? A session of the states were already celebrating that they've won the governorship election, and it was some online newspaper printed that certain political parties have won. But look at the end result. The APC won the battle. So we keep calling. There are elections in the future. Don't keep celebrating in your corner, in your zone that you have won, but wait for the final result announced by the INEC officials in charge of announcing results.
Abulo, if you look at it, there are some states. You mentioned which state now? The one Nasarawa State. Results were collated and the result that was being awaited was the one for Lafia, the state capital, where every other place had brought the Lafia, where even the INEC office, the collation office, this thing is, they were still waiting for the result. It's almost the same thing in Adamawa State. They waited for Fufure, and that. And I think one or two other states too. They finished everything and they're waiting for just one local government. It took a whole time, and then when they came, so that is clearly we've gotten Beavers. Yes, to ensure that human beings are the ones who vote, in elections.
I think actually there are some states, there are some local governments, some states that have turned to become like Florida in the USA. So they are determining factor. They determine who wins the election because Lafia, for example, is one of the biggest local governments in Nasarawa State, and is the state capital. Local government. How can you say a local government that is in the state capital where the INEC office is bringing the result very late?
I think to a large extent, APC was the biggest loser in the governorship elections. They lost 3 of their states. They lost Zamfara to PDP. They lost Plateau State to PDP. They also lost Kano to NNPP. Whereas for PDP, they lost Benue to APC and Sokoto to APC. So that's the outlook of.
Do you call them biggest losers? Why they have 15 states already in their kitty?
They went into these elections with 22 states.
Okay.
They went to these elections with 22 states. Yes, and now definitely we'll see. They were not in charge of Enugu, where is it?
But they've gained Benue.
They've gained
Benue, and they lost Plateau.
PDP has gained Zamfara and Plateau as it were, but they lost 3 states. Kano, they lost Kano, to NNPP. PDP lost only 2 states.
But was the APC really expecting to retain 22 states? Frankly,
is there any politician?
No, because we are Nigerians and we're in this country where you have persistent or ceaseless fuel scarcity, and you have the cashless crunch, the cash crunch issue, and you have several other issues.
So there
are several factors that would have made APC not to have won their 22 states.
So you are saying they're even lucky that they came up with.
If that word is accepted, maybe they were lucky.
It will now bring you into the mails. Let's also hear your views on what you think about the elections.
Welcome to the mail segment. I am Oche Otene. Whether Yahaya writes from Durumia.